everybody. So this is the exam workshop. I'm Rosier. I am a little bit in between roles. So I'm the admissions officer for a little bit, but I also was the graduate program assistant for the master's students. The person who will be stepping into that role or has stepped into that role is also here, Joni Carbano. So if you email the MSc email, you'll probably get responses from her or from myself. So we're gonna talk for a little bit, go through some slides, and then most of the workshop is going to be answering your questions. So I'm going to go first. I'm going to talk about the MSc exams and the transfer exams. Oh, and Joanne Lee is also here. Sorry, Joanne.
Hello.
Who's for the PhD final oral exams and for the qual. She's going to talk about. Okay. Next slide, Joanne.
Yeah.
Okay, so first we have to talk about program requirements and eligibility to be able to hold a final oral exam for the master students. So this is, I think this pertains to most of you at this point. So it's for students who've come into the program on or after September 2020. So first, you need to be registered. You need to be a registered student. You can't have like an invite status or a financially canceled status. You need to have a reg status. So make sure that you're a registered student to hold an exam. Course requirements. So you need to have completed all of the course requirements in order to be able to hold your final oral exam. So you need to have completed all of MSc 1010, including scientific day that's coming up. So you can submit an exam package if you've yet to complete the scientific day component, if that's something that you're waiting on. You can submit an exam package before scientific day, but your exam date has to be after scientific day. So scientific day this year is early, it's April 25th. So if you're still waiting for that course component requirement, you can hold an exam on April 26th. And so for the rest of the courses, you need a 0.5 FCE of the modular courses. Usually it's like 2 modular courses and a combination of the graded courses equivalent to 1.0 FCE. Then PAC meetings, you need to make sure you've had 4 PAC meetings. And your last PAC meet is sort of acts as a like mock exam, so you need to have approval from all of your PAC members that they've read your thesis and then it's good to go for your final exam. Generally speaking, for your thesis, it should be 85 to 100 pages that are not including the references and any appendices that you might have. And there are guidelines in the MSc, what's it called, the exam guidelines, that's also in the PDF on the website. Okay, next slide, Joanne. Okay, so this is the timeline. The timeline's also on the website, but sort of to give you a rough idea of what you're looking for. So you need to have held your final PAC. You want to give your PAC members at least 4 weeks to read your thesis before your final PAC meeting. And your final PAC meeting really sort of acts as like a mock defense. So it's you're sort of prepping for your final defense to sort of set you up for success. And you need to have, like I mentioned before, you need to have PAC approval to go forward. So we require at least 6 working weeks from when you submit your exam package to your proposed exam date, because we need time to go through it and process it and approve it. And also specifically, we need about, like, your examiner appraiser needs at least 4 weeks to read and write a written appraisal of your thesis. So we really need to be able to do that. And then a week before usually get the appraisal from your appraiser, and send out all of the reminders and stuff like that. During your exam, if there's any corrections that your exam committee recommends, you usually have like a month to do them depending on the results. You also need to submit your thesis to ProQuest, which is the online database, and then you graduate. Next slide. Okay, I'm going to talk about transfer exams. Transfer exams are very similar to the master's defense. So again, you need to be registered as a student to be able to hold a transfer exam. The course requirements are a little bit different. You still do need like the 1.0 FCE course equivalent, but you need to make sure that you have a A- average. And you do need to have completed all of MSc 1010, 1010H to be able to hold a transfer exam, as well as the modular courses. And how many packs you usually, for transfers, usually you have about 2 pack meetings before you hold a transfer exam. Like the last pack that you have, again, also acts as sort of like a pre-exam meeting where you sort of submit your research proposal that you're planning on presenting as your transfer. And yeah, next slide. I think that's it, right? Oh, and the transfer exam guidelines. So it's very similar. The main difference from the transfer exams to the MSc exams is that we only require 4 working weeks for transfer exams as opposed to the 6, because the research proposal is significantly shorter than a thesis. But the idea is the same. Okay. Is that it for me? Oh, I'm still going. Okay. So how we submit exam packages. So we submit online on the website through the MS Forms link. When you're submitting your package, make sure that you're using your U of T email, because otherwise you would be able to upload it. And we need all of the exam committee information and all of their details. So their primary academic appointment, their SGS appointment, and all of their contact information, as well as all of the supporting documentation for each respective exam. And then some things just to note for both of them. So make sure that your external examiners, so your examiner appraiser and your examiner chair, have like agreed to what they're doing. And almost always availability is confirmed by all exam committee members before exam package submission. And internal members must have a graduate faculty appointment member. So they don't necessarily need to be with IMS, but they do need to have a graduate faculty membership appointment somewhere. And the minimum number of members to be able to hold both an MSc and a transfer exam is 4 members. So you need to have your supervisor, at least one of your PAC members, and the two non-PAC members, so the examiner appraiser and the examiner chair. And also be sure to pay attention to arm's length criteria. So you can do a lot of the legwork yourself. You can check PubMed whether or not your supervisor and any of the external examiners have any publications within the last 6 years. And you can also double check whether or not they're from the same department and division as your supervisor, academic department and division as your supervisor. I think that's it, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Emily. Hi, everyone. My name is Joanne. I'm the graduate program assistant for the PhD program. I'm going to go over the PhD program requirements and PhD final oral exam. Then afterwards, I'll talk about the PhD qualifying exam. So PhD requirements and exam eligibility. You must be a registered student to submit and hold a final oral exam. For course requirements, students are required to complete a minimum of 2.0 credits for PhD and 3.0 for PhD direct entry. So this includes your MSc 1010 credit, which is 0.5 credit, plus your 0.5 modular course, plus your 1.0 elective for PhD, and it must be letter graded. 2.0 credit for PhD direct students. So all PhD students must meet candidacy requirement, which is holding at least 4 PAC meetings throughout your studies and finishing your course requirements. When you complete your course requirements plus PAC meeting, you will achieve candidacy. Then you can schedule your final oral exam. So your final PAC meeting, when the supervisor and your PAC members have approved your thesis, a final committee meeting is held with a full practice oral exam to prepare you for your defense. If you intend on applying for a waiver of the IMS departmental exam, it's meant to have an additional faculty member at the final PAC meeting. So this means you need to invite the internal examiner. They must be a member of SGS with supervisory experience, and they must be able to provide an objective perspective and feedback regarding the content of the thesis and presentation. At the end of your meeting, the committee will vote on your readiness for your defense, signs and completes the waiver request form and the final page of the PAC form. So in order to waive the departmental oral exam, again, it's mandatory to have a field expert to participate, who's also called internal examiner. If your waiver is not approved, you will need to hold the departmental oral exam prior to scheduling your final oral exam. If your waiver is approved, you can proceed right to scheduling your FOE. And the field expert may serve as a potential FOE examiner if they meet the arm's length criteria. In most cases, students have their final PAC and they waive the departmental oral exam. So PhD exam timeline, it's important to pick a date of your exam that works for you and your exam committee members and work your timeline backwards. So if you are planning to go to the medical school in the fall or you have other commitments, you should plan your exam well in advance. So you'll first hold your final PAC meeting where you will obtain your PAC members' approval and proceed to FOE. You will apply for a departmental waiver if applicable. And 9 weeks prior to the exam, you will submit your full exam package to IMS for approval. 6 weeks prior to the exam, you will distribute your thesis to the exam committee once it's approved by IMS, and we will let you know when to send those around. 1 to 2 weeks prior to the exam, your appraisal is received from the appraiser, and we'll let you know to distribute your thesis, your appraisal, and to you and to your exam committee members. And students should finalize and circulate their presentation. IMS will let you know when to circulate those documents again. And your final oral exam, you will complete any post-exam thesis corrections stated by your exam committee and SGS electronic submission to ProQuest. And you'll have your convocation in November, June, or March in absentia. The IMS office requires all of the following documents at least 9 working weeks prior to the date of your FOE. So all of these documents can be found on our website. In conjunction with SGS, IMS will vet your exam committee. We will find a chair for your exam. If the waiver is approved, then you can schedule your FOE. We will send out all official notifications and instructions via email to you and the exam committee. We will collect and distribute the external appraisal of your thesis. We will prepare the chair file for your exam, but you're responsible for sending your approved thesis to your committee members. And we will let you know again when to send that out. So choosing your external appraiser. They must hold at least associate professor's rank. They cannot be an assistant professor. They must have an experience supervising PhD students, and they cannot be affiliated with U of T or any of its teaching hospitals within the last 6 years. and they cannot have collaborated with you or your supervisor in the last 6 years. You can check PubMed on their collaboration, and they must be formally approved by SGS. So it's important to have a backup choice if you are not sure of their eligibility, or you can check with IMS beforehand. IMS will provide $100 honorarium for writing the appraisal. And your final oral exam committee composition. So ideally, we recommend maximum of 6 voting members. This includes your supervisor, 2 PAC members, you have 2 U of T internal examiners, and 1 appraiser. And the chair is appointed by SGS. But in order to meet the quorum, it's 4 voting members. So 1 supervisor, 1 PAC members, and at least 2 non-PAC members. Keep in mind that your supervisor and your co-supervisor count as 1 member. U of T PhD final oral exams are closed to the public. No one but your approved committee can attend, and the IMS does not allow public presentations. If you have more than 2 PAC members, you can have the 3rd one attend as a non-voting member. And you should have your exam at least 3 hours for the defense. It normally lasts 2.5 hours to 3 hours. So I'm going to talk about the PhD qualifying exam requirements for PhD direct students. Again, all students must be registered students in order to take the qualifying exam. And all students who enter the program on or after September 22 must hold a qualifying exam. And it must be completed within 18 to 21 months of registration. The course requirement, you need to complete MSc 1010, which is 0.5 credit plus your modular course, plus 1.0 elective with B+ average. And PAC meeting, you will have your first PAC meeting, and then your second PAC meeting is typically your pre-exam PAC meeting. And the qualifying exam timeline is you'll take your pre-exam PAC meeting where you will obtain your PAC members' approval. And 4 weeks prior to the exam, you will submit your exam package to the IMS for approval. 3 to 4 weeks prior to the exam, you will distribute your research proposal to exam committee once it's approved by IMS. 1 week prior to the exam, IMS will receive your appraisal from your examiner appraiser, and students should finalize and circulate their presentation. Then you will have your qualifying exam. You will complete any post-exam corrections to research proposal and submit your proposal to IMS. So your research proposal will look like this. It should be double-spaced, 15 to 20 pages long, with title page, background, work-to-date hypothesis, experimental design, projected outcome, predicted time to completion, reference, and any appendices. So this information is on our website again. And the exam committee, again, is 4 members to meet the quorum. Your supervisor, 1 to 2 PAC members, and 2 non-PAC examiners. So they have a dual role in this exam. 1 person will be examiner and chair. They should be SGS member, and the chair must have an active IMS graduate appointment. And the other person is examiner and appraiser. They should be SGS member with, or they can also be from non-U of T faculty with a graduate appointment. They must meet arm's length criteria to both your supervisor and yourself, and they must not share the same primary academic department as the supervisor. So the primary academic department is the department with which the faculty member gets their first U of T appointment, and IMS is never a primary academic department. So if your supervisor is from medicine and the examiner is also from medicine, but they're from the same division, such as neurosurgery, they cannot participate as an examiner. Okay, that's it for our presentation.